Namaste, good afternoon. I think you can all hear this, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, thank you very much Vinodji and entire Bharat Vichar Manch team to give this opportunity to share the idea which is now in action as what we can do even though we are here as an NRI, busy with our regular life and other commitments. What still we can do and how we all can become together, become sort of a force or influence to change India, because it's a big nation building exercise going on under Prime Minister's leadership. Just as a reference, I know Prime Minister since 1988 because I was a student leader in LD Engineering. Very fortunate to have very closely associated with him for several years through his CM and all that. So that relationship, I think, was for the reason, and the reason has unfolded as the journey of relationship has matured, particularly when he became Prime Minister, and we'll talk about it a little later. But today's agenda is Viklang or Divyang, because traditionally we have always thought about Viklang, disabled, differently able, kind of connotation. Divyang, and we'll talk about it. Rapidly changing India's disability sector. Yes, it is rapidly changing, decisively changing with new law and all of that. So that is a real thing happening. And it's happening, so how we can participate in this nation building opportunities for NRIs, because 3 million NRI, if even 30,000 of us decide to do something in this particular area, it's a huge influence. And we have been fortunate to have 2,000 volunteers so far, 500 in America, and the results and impact is enormous. It's like a journey and we are taking it forward together. Next slide. So, key constructs of today's Vichar. So, because I wanted to split into certain agenda items, we'll talk about Viklang or Divyang. What think differently starts right from the beginning. It's a think differently, think inclusively, and things will start down the chain. Next is why NRIs for disability sector transformation. Many people have asked me that what we can do sitting here as an NRI, and how can we make beyond giving wheelchair or some donation, what we can really do. So that's what we'll talk about. Next slide would be on the link between disability transformation and nation building, because we want to make sure that whatever we are talking is in context of nation building, which we all know that Prime Minister has started seriously for India to really take us to the level where we need to be, where we deserve as a country. Then we'll talk a little bit about Voice of SAP platform, which we founded just to make sure that we have organization to take this message in a more organized form with chapters and volunteers and all that. So we'll talk about our impact in the whole journey. Changes implemented, so we have a specific one slide as all of you to know that what all things already has happened. There are many things in the pipeline, but there are around 12-13 things already has happened, and these are macro level things, I am not talking small things. And nation building opportunities, so we'll talk about what action I can take, what all we can do is NRI. So that's the agenda, and of course Q&A, so we'll go for that. Next slide. So current situation. Now all of you, we all have that typical perspective towards disability, and I don't want to go into the negative connotation, but at least question here that what is the perspective? Social inclusion or exclusion and stigma? Would we all agree that by and large in India we have a tremendous stigma for people with disability? The moment we see beyond sympathy, we are not able to go much. Instead of having inclusive mindset for how to include them at every bus station, railway or employment, kind of inclusive mindset. Next one is rights and legal protection or sympathy without action. As a society, we have always shown a lot of sympathy. Haan bhai, bichara. We have those good words, but the actions are missing. As opposed to giving them rights, empowerment and legal protection, like what we see in America. Accessible or inaccessible infrastructure. Most of the places, even our parents have taken us to the temple when we were kids, and now the same parents, we feel frustrated that they can come here in this temple, but the very same temple in the town, because of the steps, they cannot go, many of the parents. So it's not only disability thing, but the whole infrastructure is inaccessible, most of the places. So that's the question in terms of current situation. Empowerment or ignorance? We have to agree, and I want to ask maybe all of you, do you agree with this current situation analysis? Maybe some of you might voice some. I want to make this interactive so that after lunchtime maybe some of you might feel some sleep. Any comments? Do you agree with this current situation analysis in India? How many of you are going to India regularly, or have you seen these things?
I go regularly, yeah, every 6 months.
Do you agree with this stuff?
Absolutely. So far, so good, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So how can we change that? Because the fundamental thing is that we are here today as a Bharat Vichar Manch, we want to change it. We do not accept the way it is right now. If this is the situation, unacceptable. Period. We don't want to say, chalta hai, hota hai, yeah, it is how my parents, she doesn't have a problem. She is not going to temple, it's okay. She is ready, okay, happy, Garman puja karti. We've accepted that, but we want to change it. So that's where develop a different perspective and spread the awareness of this different perspective, and then committing to call to action. That's how we will change this situation on the ground. So talking more about develop the different perspective, it's like Modiji always says, glass half full or half empty. Don't look at half empty. Look at what is there. And we'll have a short video of 1 minute. We'll talk about it. Not now, wait. So everyone has certain level of disability and ability. None of us, frankly, none of us are fully capable. Otherwise we'll be God. So everybody has some amount of disability. Another thing is that everybody has, limited, temporarily able. So it's because of aging, somebody can become disabled. Somebody unfortunately can have accident and become disabled. So nobody should think that, oh, this is not my problem. It can hit anybody anytime in terms of probability. And we all in America know probability theory. So it's the issue of 120 crore people, not 10 crore people who are suffering. So that's the thinking differently, and that's what it will transpire, that if something happens, if the infrastructure is good, at least the life will not be that miserable compared to what it was or it is. It's a soul or body. We are all, Hindu philosophy, Aham Brahmasmi. If you have to look at the soul, you can't make him or her a beggar or dependent. Acha, khana de diya, I'm happy. No, it's also divine soul. Look at some part of the divinity in that body, in that person, and look at what he or she can do. And that's the perspective that we, from the Eastern culture, can bring to even America also. America is spending $580 billion on disability every year, 12% of the budget or tax revenue. Still, 73% is unemployed. So I many times laughingly tell that if I would have born here in '69 in America, I would have been on a wheelchair, because everything takes care of you. So you are not pushing yourself. So it's our culture to think differently of empowerment rather than entitlement. So, and looking at the opportunities, this is important, the third aspect. In America we all know, it's a big vote bank. You take out any program from disability sector, you will lose your Congress seat or whatever. India, it is completely other way. Nobody has paid any attention. While data says that there are crores of people, and if you add the aged persons, it is like more than 10% of the overall population. Every person has mother, father, sister, brother. So look at the potential opportunity to connect with at least 30%. If 10% is the disabled population, it's 30% effective population that you can directly connect to. And that is what politicians have to realize. Because then the different type of social politics rather than some other politics that we all the time see, caste based and all that. This is above all caste, religion and all that. So that's why if you are a branding company, there's a tremendous brand equity you can create. And this I have talked to many people, like owner of Vadila. I have talked that in your advertisement, if you put ice cream eating young boy and girl, one girl sitting in a wheelchair, beautiful, brand recall value. Everybody who will see that advertisement poster, a girl sitting in a wheelchair, enjoying the ice cream, that's an inclusive advertisement. That has a better brand recall than the regular. So many hoardings are always there, smart, beautiful girl and what, but the wheelchair bound, that's the difference. So we are trying to change the situation by explaining what is in for you as a benefit. Because welfare doesn't go long. If you are convinced that this is my benefit, if I hire these people, they will stay with me, more productive and give me more profit, you will hire them. But somebody has to put an attempt. So that's where, we are talking about think differently. Spreading awareness. So that's where, focusing on, so we, specially able people, we started coining back in, during elections 2014. The whole BJP manifesto is on that, specially able people. Then the Hindi version came, that was Divyang. And let's look at that video. So 1 minute video. It is in Gujarati, but I think most of you will understand. Modiji is explaining Divyang versus Viklang. So those who are Gujarati, probably this was on his birthday in Navsari, where he celebrated his birthday.
दोस्तों आज शब्द में डिक्शनरी में शोधेलो शब्द है હું સામાજિક મનોરંજન બધાના માટેની મથામણ કરી રહ્યો જ્યારે કોઈને આપણે અપમાન કરીએ છીએ વિકલાંગ કહીએ છીએ ત્યારે આપણું ધ્યાન એના શરીરમાં કયો ભાગ ગડબડ છે એના તરફ હોય છે એનામાં જે અપાર શક્તિઓ પડી છે એના તરફ નથી હોતો અને એટલે જ મેં કહ્યું કે સરકાર આ વિકલાંગ અપંગ બધા શબ્દોમાંથી બહાર આવે અને એની પાસે કદાચ એક અંગ નથી પણ બાકી બધા અંગોની તાકાત દિવ્યાંગ બરાબર છે અને એમાંથી આ ભાવ પેદા એમાંથી આ સામર્થ્ય પેદા અને મને
So those who could not fully understand, he is trying to, change the society, change their thinking. Look at what they have, that little bit, but that divinity part. So if we change the mindset of the people, start with the word Divyang. Everybody knows that if you don't have eye, it's not Divyang. But the point is, if you don't have eye, maybe you have better ears, or maybe better memory, or something else. Look at that. And that's why the whole Divyang word has come as a positive connotation to the whole subject, which will hopefully transpire more inclusive thought process. Okay, next. Why disability, NRIs for disability sector transformation? The first point, we all are fortunate in this country. And my case, 18 years in America, 30 years in India, how accessibility helps. I'm vice president. Every week I'm taking care of the entire America's P&L. So I can drive any car, rent a car, everywhere I'm independent. Hotels, everything is fully accessible. My wife or my mother doesn't worry that, oh, what will happen to this one? I'm free. For last 10 years I'm doing this, not like 10 months or 1 year. But, and that is what, if we do that in India. So we are kind of lucky enough to have seen all NRIs, the accessible infrastructure. And I gave the example, when your parents come, you can take to any place, but the same parents cannot go to the beautiful places in India. We are a rights-based society. We know ADA Act. Some of you who are in the hotel-motel business might be even cursing sometimes the government that too much of regulation. But still it is right-based protection. We know the technology solution which are out here. The people who are working, we have 200 volunteers in Bay Area. We got lots of information that what Microsoft is doing, what Google is doing, what Apple has. This Siri feature in Apple, that was basically invented to part of that assistive technology related thing, that how people can, those who cannot type, they can speak and it will be typed. So those who cannot see. So from there it has become mainstream technology. So those are the advantages we as NRIs have. So when we talk with a passion that hey, we see everything here easy. And that's the first, advantage of saying, and so we can be optimistic. The point here is optimistic because in India people have accepted the way it is. Well, we are hopeful, no, it will change. We'll make it change. We'll give references. Second point, we have our family or old age parents. Many of them are probably facing challenges today in India. That is another driver for us to participate into this. Third one is professional expertise. Many of our volunteers, some of them are medical professionals, some of them are accessibility professionals, technology professionals. So what we do is collective wisdom. We have inspired people for bringing their expertise for this cause so that we are ahead in that sense compared to our friends in India. That's the NRI advantage. Financial resources. Many of us always donate something in India. So we'll talk about, maybe you can, your own trust, your own foundation, but start looking at programs or opportunities with disability sector. Innovation, enablement. This is very important, goodwill. When we pick up anybody from America, if they call the trustee of a school or a temple, very high probability they will talk to you, seriously. If same person in the same village or town goes to the trustee, says, this ramp, let us put a ramp, aare chalega, baad mein karenge. But when you talk, there is an added goodwill or the impact. Let's use that. It's nothing wrong. We just can, and then we can obviously mobilize our family and friends in the neighborhood. And sense of giving back to Mother India, because end of the day, those who are here, I'm pretty sure we believe we are proud children of Mother India. So this is our minimum that we can give back. We can talk nicely and do everything, but what is the action? Where do I make a difference? And this is where I believe that all of us can be inspired. So, NRIs, the bullet red line. All of us have tremendous energy now because of being more hopeful with leadership of Prime Minister of India. We were not this much engaged prior to our current Prime Minister. He has inspired millions of NRIs for taking some action, for nation building. Like I remember, I read somewhere, Indira Nooyi said, she has told to Prime Minister, tell me what I can do for you. The same Indira Nooyi would never have told in the past. So we have now those type of people who are coming forward to help nation building, and that's because of the leadership that we believe in. And we'll talk why we believe, because he has taken actions. Next. Disability transformation and nation building. 21st century. Now, this is, we all know about 21st century belongs to India. I wanted to give a little more perspective, color to the whole, confidence. As many of you know, PwC published a report. India will be second largest economy in the world from purchase price parity perspective, PPP. Next to China, US will be third. What does it mean? There are enough resources, enough budgetary resources, tax revenues available for needs of people with disability, which as a poor country we did not have in the past. So that's the opportunity. Next one, tremendous opportunities with current Prime Minister. He has already done a lot of things. So that gives us confidence that yes, if the 21st century belongs to India, with this Prime Minister, even it is for people with disability. So that's where, the nation building is extended to this 10% population. It's not restricted to some of the, it's a sabka saath, sabka vikas. Massive infrastructure creation. First time in probably history of India, largest influx of resources going on for building new buildings and new infrastructure, everywhere. If the cities are being created, smart city and all that, lot of money. If smart city is being created, it should be fully, the footpath should be fully like America. The traffic signal should be like here with audio signal for the visually impaired to follow. So smart city, 100 smart cities should be fully accessible. So that's where the technology solutions. Today, never before this much was there. today we have tremendous opportunity with all the technologies available in us, robotics, artificial intelligence. Even I have some volunteers have referred me to somebody and he has reached out to me with a proposal that we have got 50 lakhs rupees from Tata Foundation. We are coming to San Francisco to meet some venture capitalists. They have developed a prototype for people with disability to walk, even though they have polio, and with the sensors. So I don't know how they have done, but this is the technology that has already gone to the level where people have started innovating. So this is where we are hopeful that there can be something for as a solution. So nation buildings, as we are talking about, creates rights-based. What do you mean by nation building? It's a right-based society. So we have now new law, and we'll talk more about it, but current government has already passed Rights of People with Disability 2016 Act, and it has all the rules and compliance related provisions. Social transformation. 65% population of India is young. And that's where social transformation is more possible, because young people will accept the change or the new perspective, and that's the opportunity for India. Massive retrofitting of existing building, because all the things are getting changed. The retrofitting for accessibility, temples, hospitals, schools, everything that restaurants, that is possible. Sustained economic growth will create a lot of jobs. If India has to become second largest economy, they are predicting average 5% GDP growth for next 20-30 years. That means thousands and thousands of new jobs. This is the manpower which is available. Earlier you did not have that, but now it is available, because there are more jobs. So you can fulfill those jobs with the people being trained in this sector. And there are so many examples, but one big example I'll give you, Gitanjali Jewelers. 1,000 people are doing work in Gitanjali Jewelers out of 4,000, so 25% employees. Because Manish Bhai, or what is his last name, he is saying that it's a no-brainer. They don't leave, they do very hard work, and that's what he wants. Because in jewelry business, there are like 25-30% people keep coming and going. So to train to the new people is a big headache. That's where the opportunity comes. And that's why if there are more trained people, they will get more jobs. And that's why now so many companies are there in India focusing on training people with disability. Growing demand for assistive devices. WHO says there are $60 billion market for disability products by 2020. Why it is important? That when Indian companies start exporting these products, take a leadership. Why the entire world is not given wheelchairs made in India? This is a thought process, right? There are 8,000 products in America. Why most of them cannot be produced at a mass scale in India for our economic growth, for tapping into the global market? Digitization, modernization. So many of eye donation. Here, if you collect 100 corneas, 70 people will get the vision, because we have better procedures and equipments and all of that. India, as such, we don't have enough eye donation, but we get 100 corneas, only 14 people get the vision. So 86 corneas are wasted, and that's a crime. We have to fix that. And that's why this nation building, what is nation building means, every sector, healthcare, education, accessibility, all the sectors can undergo a change with this inclusive mindset. Next slide. A little bit about Voice of SAP. So looking at all these things as a background, we decided that yes, we know Prime Minister, but let's take it to a serious level, where we form this organization, inspire people. So I keep talking to Chamber of Commerce, management associations, I keep going to India, and this is what I enjoy. I take my vacation to do this type of India trips. And even here, yesterday I was in Atlanta, we had a big event. Today I am here, so we constantly are driving. So we have 2,000 volunteers, and which includes many of them. We have places of likes of Ravi Shankar also, Shri Ravi Shankar, active chapters, and 100 plus volunteers are excellent with their professional background, who are very active with us. It's not 10, 15, it's 100 plus who are actively working on this cause. At this point, I will play one video. is a global team of volunteers who have come together to transform India's disability sector. We believe and we see opportunities in empowering especially young people. And we take this perspective and voice to the movers and shakers who can implement it. I have polio with both the legs. I am a polio survivor since the age of 4. I am one of those fortunate people who could come to the US and live the life to the fullest. Independent life, driving car, traveling anywhere in the country, working as a vice president in a large company. You know, I want same opportunities to be available in our country for 7 crore people. I believe we can do that. And that's why I started Voice of SAP 2 years ago to execute this vision of transforming India, making it like America or any other developed countries when it comes to people with disability. In addition to that, knowing our Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi since 1988 has helped a lot to get his attention to solve our problems in disability sector.
मैं मानता हूँ कि किसी परिवार में स्पेशली एबल बालक है तो सिर्फ उनके माँ बाप का दायित्व नहीं, ये पूरे समाज का दायित्व है। परमात्मा ने शायद उस परिवार को पसंद किया है, लेकिन वो बालक तो सारे राष्ट्र की जिम्मेवारी होता है।
If each one of us, 120 crore Indians, realize that we are all temporarily abled, it's just a matter of one unfortunate moment where somebody meets with the accident, or even due to aging, many of us would be faced with the disability. So I believe it's a issue that all of us should come together and solve. Look at untapped human resource potential that is already being leveraged by some smart business people like Lemon Tree Hotel. That has become their mainstream hiring strategy. People with disability are hired to become competitive in the marketplace. So if you are a business person, you should also look at this option of hiring, employing people with disability. If you are an entrepreneur or an innovator, somewhere from Bangalore or Silicon Valley, you are looking for opportunities. Let me give you an idea. Assistive technology field, growing very fast globally, especially because of the UN treaty that 160 countries are now pouring their resources into this sector. It's an estimated $60 billion market by year 2020. If you are a politician, here is a huge population that has been ignored for decades. 7 crore people in India. And when you consider the family of average 5 per family, it's around 30% India's population that you can directly connect to if you start focusing on helping people with disability. So far, we have sensitized hundreds of leaders with the goal of reaching out to 1,000 plus leaders who may be bureaucrats, who may be corporate leaders, maybe elected leaders or social leaders. We have also inspired hundreds of volunteers across 10 states and several cities in the US to take this as their own mission to make it accessible and inclusive.
I have come across several worthy causes, but when I came to know about Voice of SAP, then I decided to make it as my life mission.
For me, it's been really fulfilling as a volunteer. It's also, I can also see the impact and the outreach and initiatives that have already been started in India because of Voice of SAP.
We proposed Accessible India campaign in 2014, July-August time frame, and very fortunate to have worked with them, and now it is implemented across the country by Government of India.
I just want to say, before saying the winner, that we need to make every single thing accessible to every single person with a disability.
The time is right now. There are 4 very important aspects that one has to look at. Technology available, resources available. Young India, 65% population is below age of 35. Any social change is a lot more easier to be adopted by the society when the population is young. And you know the most important thing? Political will. I urge all of you to come together, join Voice of SFE, bring your strength, thought leadership, resources. We have ample things to do to bring the dignity to 7 crore people's life in India, and of course the happiness to effectively 35 crore people in India. And that's the opportunity. Let's seize it together. So the idea, okay. So just to give you, without going into details, but this is what we are doing, and you all can join on that. This is more timeline as what has happened, several things. So let's talk about what the current government, Modiji, has done so far. By the way, I'm honorary advisor to the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment also. So that gives some extra advantage of working closely with them. So this is all of these things are first time ever in India. And that's why I'm very excited that this is happening at a very rapidly speed. And you heard Modiji talking very, passionately about Divyang and all that. So let's talk about any ruling party that gave manifesto commitments. BJP gave 7 manifesto commitments in 2014 election, that these are the 7 things that we will do. And each one is transformative. It's not like kuch karenge nahi, specific things. New law, e-learning, accessibility, and all of that. Nationwide campaign launched by Prime Minister himself. Yes, we gave the proposal, we were invited that yes, Prime Minister liked it, give the complete blueprint. But then he took it personally, he liked it. So he launched it on December 3, which is International Disability Day, countrywide, from Vignan Bhavan. 1,500 government buildings are already audited for accessibility and retrofitting. So government has put money on that. That it's not just talking. And yes, if you go to India these days, Air India boarding pass would have an Accessible India campaign on their backside. On Doordarshan, you will see a lot of advertisement. That's there. But in addition to that, there are actual buildings getting upgraded by government. 500 railway stations will be upgraded with lifts, and that's what in the recent budget that has been announced. Online application that has started, universal identity, because currently if you are you need some benefit or some whatever basic identity. For bus you have separate pass, train you have separate pass, everywhere you have different pass, and you keep going and wasting your time. The idea behind this is one of the manifesto commitment, universal identity card for everyone. And the more ambitious thing is to connect it with your bank account and Aadhaar, so that automatic money can be transferred, and that is a long-term goal. Prime Minister of India celebrated his birthday, 11,000, and that's why it became a Guinness Book of World Records. 11,000 Divyang, along with them he celebrated his birthday last September in Navsari, the video we saw. Government of India has organized 5,000 camps, never before. In just 2.5 years, 5,000 camps, 600,000 people given either wheelchair or smart cane or laptop or whatever assistive devices that could empower or help or enable the person with disability. Government of Disability Rights Bill. This is interesting. We drafted the new bill, worked together with the ministry and everybody, and everything was finalized. For the last 6 months, it was with Prime Minister, and he was busy with demonetizing other things. When we asked, it's pending with Prime Minister. So when I had the opportunity to meet him on 28th November, several other things we talked about for future, but the basic thing that, is there any problem in this bill? Literally there was no problem. But why I'm sharing this, that he is a busy man, but surrounding also needs to be that sensitive to follow. And that's where was a bit of a reality check, that although Prime Minister is very gung-ho on this, we'll have a lot of work to do to inspire his direct reportees, state chief ministers. Because he celebrated his birthday, I asked Vijay Rupani ji, why you did not celebrate your birthday with same big population? That has to be equal. That's where the transformation comes. So we are continuously into that sort of engagement to inspire people that your boss is doing this, you also better align and do this. So that was, so bill he passed within 6 hours. Got a message that he passed very next day, cabinet approval, Rajya Sabha approval, Lok Sabha approval, president's signature, complete thing happened in 1 month, exact 1 month. So when it comes to his radar, it is done. Only the bill that was passed in last chaotic parliament session was this disability rights bill. What is that given? There are now 21 types of disabilities recognized under the law compared to 7. So huge leap forward. Many more people will get benefit. Then 4% job reservation and all that. Budget resources. This is another. The Ministry of Social Justice for Disability Department, the budget has doubled. Literally doubled. So that means they can do more work. And there is no, I don't see any restriction. It's more like they should be ready to even do more work. There is a universal sign language for hearing impaired. We have different sign language in different regions of India for hearing impaired. One language that they have come up with. And there are other multiple, so we are working with Health Ministry, Finance Ministry, HRD for education, right to education. So there are multiple things that are in pipeline. So I believe that these are very encouraging actions, demonstrated commitment by this Modi government. And this is a historic opportunity. If we want to do something for our country, this is a serious area, leadership that we can believe in, and we can try our part to do whatever we can. Okay, everybody has their own strength, so they can do that. Next slide. So this is the last slide. What is that we can do? I think we have time. Spread awareness within personal. I request you all to spread the awareness. Things are happening. So if you become a volunteer, one of the simplest thing is you will come to know a lot of things that is happening in this sector in India. So you share it on your Facebook, email, WhatsApp, whatever. So let people know that this is required and this is happening. So it's not like some wishful thinking. So spread the awareness. Adopt specific project based on your interest. We have so many projects for you to work on. Adopt what makes sense for your background and your ability and your area and your resources. And you do it. We will just be partnering with you so we can guide you. Bring your own thought leadership. Proposal. Like I was talking about iBank, Rehab Center that Purnima Ben is helping. So there are various thought leadership opportunities for each one. Like Dr. Vikram Kamdar on the diabetes, what are the preventable disabilities from the visual impairment perspective. Hire or influence to hire people with disabilities. Because many of our Indians are at a very good position here in the US as an NRI who have direct power if they are in IT or whatever. In India also. So if you are convinced, and somebody just yesterday at Atlanta, Maharashtra Mandal, one of the senior person, very learned, big, he has a lot of books published. He said, I will connect you with Ram Durai, ex-CEO of TCS. If for any reason I will have in discussion with Ram Durai, this will be the first topic that TCS has army of people. Do you have 2% people as people with disability? Inspire them. So that is what we all can do, because this discussion happened right here in America. NRI will now take this message to the person Ram Durai. And this is what we all can do. Adopt a building. Everybody, you are connected with your hometown. Think of your village or hometown, the school that you went for study, or the temple that you visited always. Get a ramp them. If they don't have money, we can get them money. But get it done. We have right now 7 such projects going on in India. One already done, Jamnagar, I don't know how many Gujarati, but Lakota Lake is there. And there is a Guinness Book of World Record temple, Hanumanji temple. For last 54 years, non-stop chanting is going on. And that temple, our volunteers inspired the trustee, collector, and the ramp is there in 2 months. So this is real thing happening. So you can adopt also some of those type of things. You can adopt a Divyang student, because we have so many students in, if you want, we are in academics, just by giving let's say $100 or $500, somebody can get, study or benefit. Because let's say audiobooks, there are a lot of audiobooks, but the audio player may not be affordable. So audio players these days are $20, $30. So audio player with audiobooks, so visually impaired student at their home can listen and study. It's not a rocket science. Technology is there, it's all doable. buy products made by Divyang artisans. Lots of products are being made by them. NRIs can at least do and support that with the self-employment of people. And of course, join voice of SAP. If you all think that this is something worthy, we have created a very credible platform that is only focused on inspiring as many people, as many leaders for action, period. We are not doing any fundraising. It's your money, but we tell you how to use it or where to use it. And that's how we make a difference, because everybody has some passion. We have become, because if we do one project, we will be consumed on that. But if we want to enable 100 projects, B.U. Patel can take one project, I'm just giving my name, or some other person, so many people here, they cannot take one project and things can be multiplied. And we can just be the enablers. That's the vision that we have. I think we are done with that. Next one, just go next. These are some of our partners. Q&A. All time for the question answer.
I have a quick question. Yeah. When you were mentioning hearing impaired, language for them, so that speech language, you said it was in sign language, was in different, and they have come up with one. I had a chance when I lived in New York to learn sign language here. Is it aligned with American?
Universal one? That is a good question.
That's something I want to know.
Yes.
Because you would want eventually them to be capable of working even outside.
And these are the gaps that we have to fulfill. We didn't have a solid volunteer on hearing impaired area.
Right.
If you can bring some of your connections, website, we can connect you, because we have many volunteers in India who are hearing impaired or their parents or friends.
So far the language is not.
It is standardized. They are saying they have done it. They have done it in India, but we'll have to see. There are always room to improve, right? This is the first step.
Sure.
I mean, this is like going in the right direction. But there is always opportunity. You can, as a voice of SAP volunteer, you will be, and that's what I can tell you, entertained for going into details, even with the government officers. We don't want everybody to do that, but selectively we take the people, connect them with the government bureaucrats, so that we go into the detail. Because that's where we want to fill our gaps, because we don't know everything.
Anyone else?
What is your name?
Prem.
Prem.
You said to create awareness among our friends. I have a very large address in my email and the Facebook. So could you give me a ready-made attachment or the text message, which instead of me creating, you give me and I can forward it?
Absolutely, we do this all the time, yeah.
So when will you give it now? Or can I
wish I will do three things, at least physical things. 2 newsletters and our brochure, 1-page flyer. But I will send the soft copy to you.
I'll see, give my email.
Usha.
I'll take this.
Yeah. Name, number.
May I ask one question related to another? My name is Lalit Mohan Bansal. I am from Delhi. I am from Delhi. The first question is, you see, in India, everything depends on the budget. The budget is, and I feel, it's so low. Can the government do anything in that budget? Secondly, the people or the government people, they do not have any sort of connection, regard or anything else. Here I see the people regard for the Viklang people, the young people, but in India, nobody bothers. Do you think that there should be some law?
Yeah.
India में कहते हैं ना हर चीज डंडे के जोर से चलती है.
So that's why this new law, 2016 Rights of People, it is just December. Actually, it is going as we speak. So we are participating in drafting the rules. So once the law comes, published in the Gazette, you have to come up with the rules. So we are drafting the rules, finalizing, and 14th of April, Ambedkar Jayanti, government is planning to announce the rules. That's where the teeth will come to the law in terms of compliance and non-compliance and penalty and all that. Number one. Number two, see, it's a democracy and it's very fundamental. The resources, budget, nobody will give you unless you ask for it. And to ask, we have to become a mass movement. We have to ask, they should see that 10% people are asking for it. And that's the reason Voice of SAP is inspiring to so many people become volunteers and become a force asking for the rights. Because that's the ground. For example, this Jamnagar collector, we have signed up 36 agenda items. 36 agenda items. Because my volunteers could put a pressure. MP Poonam madam is under that kind of a pressure that Modiji wants this. So I could convince MP as well as this collector. So now budget is there. Now budget is there by the PWD department of Jamnagar district for making things accessible. So answer to the budget, we already saw government has doubled the budget and they will do. But there has to be demand, pull factor. There has to be push factor. Both the things has to work, as you understand, right? If there is nobody asking for it, so far, there is no representation in Parliament. Very unfortunate, but the reality that Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment just recently had a department called Empowerment of People with Disability. So it's just a department, not even a ministry. So that's where, and all the resources, 70,000 crore every year to the ministry, majority of it goes to SC, ST. Because SC, STs are represented in Parliament, asking for their problems, that happens. So same thing we want for people with disability to ask for to their representatives, MLA, MP. So that's why the, active, voice, that's why we are saying voice. Become a voice that can be heard, which cannot be ignored.
Do you think it should be made a separate ministry in spite of the
Absolutely. That actually in Vision 2020 that we drafted.
Whether you have ever proposed?
Yes, we have proposed, but this, see, again, push-pull. Government is always trying to reduce the government, especially when there is no need or felt need. And disability is little bit, let me tell you, I am not fully convinced for separate ministry also. One of the reasons is, every ministry should have a disability agenda. Because disability is a multi-ministerial issue. Education should have its own budget. Health ministry should have its own. Tourism ministry should have its own. Every ministry should have its own budget. That's what the things would change.
Usha, I have been associated.
Can I just it's a question similar to what he's asking? So it's not, I don't think that it's just a matter of the officials or the ministry not having a sympathetic attitude that you see in West. It's a matter, what he said, that the matter of the changing the outlook of the whole society. And that, my question is that, you are doing a great job. But what is the situation and what exactly we are doing nationwide? Can you give us some idea? This is what I've heard and commendable, very nice. But is there a plan, if you know, from the government side or from the society side, that how to educate or how to change this mindset of this vast population, millions of people?
And that's an Accessible India campaign.
Related to him, same question.
Yeah.
How the state governments are responding
Very good
to the federal government?
Very good question. Both the question. The first answer is that Accessible India campaign is aimed to create large-scale, country-wide awareness through Doordarshan, through various means. They have got crores of rupees of budget to create awareness. They have those Bollywood celebrities and all that also. So that is where we have to inspire people that do something. Because unless Government of India pushes through their channels, things will not be noted. Now the question is it being heard by the politicians or is it being heard by the bureaucrats? Answer is yes and no. Why yes? Because so far, whenever we have reached out to any collector or any bureaucrat or anybody, we are having perfect attention and action. At the same time, if you don't reach out to them, nobody cares. So it's a change process. Like I told you, classic example of disability bill. It was drafted after a lot of discussions. It was not approved till you go and request. So you have to have, I think, It's a transition. It will not happen automatically. But the government is very serious, as I understand, based on this Accessible India campaign where they are doing it. Plus, Modiji himself. What is the purpose of him celebrating his birthday with 11,000 Divyang? To give a strong message to every MP. And that's where, Vinodji, we are coming up with a mobile app. So I think there's a role to play for people like us for a mass movement countrywide, because we are present in 10 states. So 10 states, chief minister, many MPs, all of that we are covering. We want obviously to spread out more. But our mobile app will help us. So mobile app has a one feature, pledge. Take a pledge. So we are going to ask all 500 plus whatever MPs, take a pledge. And it will be public information. If 50 MPs take a pledge, 500 do not, that's where pressure system will work. That's where our RSS, HSS, VHP, BJP, everybody should have to come together. That this is where we want every district collector to pledge. Every MP, MLA should pledge, because then things will happen. So there's some automatic or mobile app also, because India is big time on mobile. So why not to have a, which is almost ready now, both 80% ready. We are just under testing. But that's why we'll do that.
Next question.
Ek minute. Your question was?
How the states are responding?
Yeah, states. So in the law there is a provision for states to adopt the law. So now once the every state, so example, Gujarat has already, we spoke to them and they have adopted the resolution, and we have worked, we have developed, first time, Gujarat is the first state to have a comprehensive disability. So when we met, we requested we should have a policy for disability. He said, can you make it? We made it, and in 2 months it was submitted. In another month or so it should be approved. So again, state should comply to this, but disability is a state matter. So they have full freedom not to do anything. And that's where I think government can do the law, but the implementation still requires, I wouldn't say Voice of SAP is an NGO, but we are non-profit and advocacy. We will need to speak up. We will need to reach out to state, because we have 12 states. Gujarat mein ho gaya, at least other BJP states are available for us to go and tell that, let's do it. It's a copy paste.
Once we motivate all the states, there are other people, everybody wants to do good. So if you have to create an example, it's easier to follow. So once you create a prototype in Gujarat, we are hoping that other states will be easier to approach and they will have a formula to copy.
If you have idea, we are ready to, how can we reach to all 30 states? We think that this is how we prove the concept. Gujarat, we have developed the disability policy. We have already submitted, government like it, and now other states are ready to copy. That is one way we think. Because what is happening? Central Ministry is inviting all the disability commissioners. Even out of 30 states, only 12, 13 people go there for even meeting. This is the reality. So another thing that I was talking to Chief Commissioner of Disability just last week, I said, you have these meetings with all of this, there is a by law, disability commissioner in every state. I said, let's start to do the evaluation and make it public. And do a, award the best performer. We will automatically tell that those who will do good will get an award, reward. So that's what we are working on. Maybe in May or June, we are planning an event where all the Disability Commissioner of India will come to Delhi, and so he has asked me that, can you propose a framework as how to evaluate? So we are going to keep it very simple, 10-point agenda. On each one there will be a rating of the performance, very quantifiable. So each state will be evaluated. So that will also probably take the matter more seriously to the state level.
Okay. My name is Pranav Desai. I'm an engineer here in LA for the last 40 years, and I want to add a general comment. This country went through this process of the transition, of improving their disability, and they have imposed regulations in the city permit process. Being an engineer, I go to get a city permit on small jobs. First thing they want is that, where is the handicap drawing? Where is the accessibility requirements? They have a Title 24, which has been introduced as one of the code, and like I said, in this country, they made a condition that if you have an existing home, and if you are planning to modify or improve or add a room or make a second story, you have to comply to the current ADA, American Disability Act requirements. So my general question after this comment was, could something like this be implemented in India on a educational level or construction level or city level, where there is some kind of a law that if they have to improve, they have to comply to the accessibility first, otherwise they won't be granted any permit?
I have 4 to 5 points to give answer. Number one, last year, first time in March, Urban Development Ministry in Delhi has come up with harmonized guideline for building code. First time. This is what India is. They have come up with that guideline, that how buildings should be from accessibility perspective, all type of accessibility, not only building, transportation. But that is where the first time it has come. Now, law has a provision to retrofit buildings in next 3 to 5 years, depending on the type of building. So that is second item. Third item, there is a penalty also in the law. But the reality, fourth point is like Ahmedabad Urban Auda or Ahmedabad Corporation. I have talked to the Ahmedabad Chief Planning Officer, personal friend. He says, Pranav, get one litigation, public interest litigation, I'll fix every building. Because the reality is, when BU permit, business use permit, when you go, you show everything. It is in the law. But the penalty is like 50,000 or very small. So nobody cares. And then that area that you have shown as a ramp and all that is gone on the reality. So so he says I can go and break those buildings. But there is a political pressure. He as an officer cannot go and start your BU permit as this and this is no. There has to be some, and that's where the Goa was very good. Goa is far ahead in that because there was a public interest litigation. Somebody went to the court. Everything, Manohar Parrikarji was waiting for that sort of thing. Like, oh, court has said you have to do it. So, a lot of things have been fixed. So, that is how I think law is there, penalties are there in the new law, much better than the previous law. But still depends on people to really follow. Otherwise, jugaad karke, people still will try because it's a, so how we are inspiring builders, for example, that, and this has been, different way of advocacy, that if you have a building, you are selling apartment. If you say that we have accessible bathroom in our apartment, it will be like having marble or some extra feature because everybody has some senior in their home or something like that. So that's how if we can inspire. So I have met and Gujarat Institute of Civil Engineering and Architects, they are our partners. We made a big event there. We have inspired thousands of them that start planning that. So again, depends on the owner and whether he wants to spend that money or not. But I think it's a process. But law is there.
Thank you. Thanks everyone. Thank you, Pranav ji. You're doing a marvelous job, great job. Have you ever met anybody